Welcome, everyone. This is the Coaching to Flourish podcast. I'm your host, John Andrew Williams. Today, I'm with Jayme Budge. Welcome, Jayme.
Thank you.
It'll be fun. I felt like I've had such a chill morning. I know you're getting into this. This is going to be exciting to hear someone just share a story, and that's what I love about these weekly conversations. And so I just want to give a little bit of background. So Jayme is one of our trainers. She is a trainer here at Coach Training EDU. You have a corporate background. And have worked through professional, personal growth to get to where you are. You have 6 children, which superhero status in that, and focusing on balancing all of it. Family, students, clients, and also being a trainer. Welcome, Jayme, to the podcast.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
So, when you first heard life coaching? What was your honest first reaction when you first heard the words life coaching?
It was honestly many years ago, and I thought it was foofy. I thought it would probably be a lot like therapy. What's the difference? People are just kind of creating this fake world. What are they doing? And I didn't experience it. I just got familiar with it, kind of dipped my toe in, judged it, and backed out. So I was grateful when I got a different opportunity later in my career.
So what was that different opportunity?
My employer, they actually partnered with a coaching company and hired executive coaches. And as I had the perception of it being foofy, several of the executives had the same concept, and they didn't want to utilize the service. Right. But my boss was like, oh, Jayme will eat this up. So he presented it to me, and luckily I had grown a lot and matured and jumped on board and was hooked ever since.
That's pretty common in the executive world. And I've been on the other end of that as an executive coach who's brought in, and you realize you're staring at 6 people and all of them look at you like, dude, why are you here?
Exactly. I don't need you here. What are you talking about? Yeah.
You're basically taking a half hour, an hour of my time each week for things I don't really care about. How did that roll out? How did the organization first present it?
They provided us a link so that we could do a survey and get matched with somebody. They said, we're providing you this opportunity. They actually didn't give us a lot of context to it, which was interesting. I only got the context from my supervisor, who literally just said, you'll love this, and so have fun with it. And that was my context. It was pretty simple and basic.
It's pretty common because usually it's a top-down thing where the executives, they get coached because one of their friends gets coached, and they say, you need to do this because it's amazing. And then they experience it, and then they tell the people around them to also experience it.
Yep.
How did that play out over 3 or 4 months? Did people get on board, or was it not?
It was interesting. It was very much a dichotomy. People that loved it. They were all in. And people that didn't put the time and effort into it got nothing out of it. So it's basically true to anything in life. Right. So everybody knew that I was passionate about it because I talked about it all the time. And so it was a lot of fun for me, and I couldn't rave about it enough. And then when I would hear that somebody else was not invested, I was just perplexed. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is life-changing. This is amazing. So I did turn a couple people to the right side of but I couldn't convince everyone.
It's for me in the executive world, coaching, 10 years ago, it was even harder to convince people to get a coach because it was like, what is life coaching? What is executive coaching? What are we doing? Now I find that it's a lot more accepted. It's more common. And sometimes it means you're getting a promotion, or you're getting, groomed to be something, go up the ladder. What do you find the perception of coaching in the executive world is?
I think I've watched it. So it was about 5 years ago that this got introduced. And I think people were skeptical, but we've had coaches at our executive level now for 5 years. And so I think they're embracing it. I think that is something that they look to put a new executive in place and they immediately get partnered with a coach, which speaks volumes about the validity and the effectiveness of what you can do with this role.
Right. Oh, that's great. So what was the journey from you getting a coach in that to you signing up to be a coach?
I was all in. I loved it so much from day one. You know, and I was going through a lot in my personal life. So it was just such a great exploration to stay with a growth mindset and to just learn a lot about myself as a person and as a leader and just learn about myself. And so I was fortunate enough to have a life coach for 2 years. And as I was wrapping up the experience, I just was like, I need to do this. And my coach was like, yes, you're basically meant to do this. She's like, I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I have to tell you that. And so I researched and found Coach Training EDU, thank goodness. And it was a great fit. So I went through the Executive 1.0 and 2.0 program, and I was very blessed in that my company, because they had this coaching program, allowed me to do coaching at work. So part of my time was spent coaching. So I was able to get my certification relatively quickly with all the coaching hours that I could do.
How did the organization, the people in the organization, wrap their minds around you getting trained and then all of a sudden working with people in the organization?
It was very much within my wheelhouse. It didn't surprise them at all, because I was always, I'm about the people. I'm told often I'm the heart and soul, which makes me very proud of how I connect with people and that they know that that's the first priority. So it was, I had to limit my time to say, okay, I only have this many coaching hours in a week. We need to prioritize, because so many people started bringing their leaders and managers to me to work with them. So it was a very easy adaptation and not surprising at all.
That is so
To them.
lovely
Yeah,
when that happens, when
it
you
was
start getting the referral and word of mouth. I mean, that is the best.
Yep.
I mean, that is the primary driver of growth in almost any organization
Yep.
when they're doing well. It's happening for us right now too, as an organization. Wow. So you really got into a good sweet spot.
I know. It was a gift. I was given the gift of a coach, and then I got to utilize it at work and just pay forward the gift as well. So it paid for itself very much.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, let's take a step back. So where did you grow up? What was it like? And what have you brought today?
Grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. Idyllic childhood, played with friends, went to our family cabin on the weekends, rode horses, got to do all the fun things. As a parent now, I didn't realize how much time my parents invested into what they were doing with dance and flute lessons and everything. So I very much appreciate, as a parent of 6 myself, how much time and dedication goes into that. So yeah, I had a great childhood. California every summer to visit family. So good childhood.
Salt Lake City is beautiful.
I know. I didn't. I'm so sad though. One complaint I have about my childhood is we did not go to enough national parks within Utah. So it's only been within the past 5 to 10 years that I've gotten my adventure hat on and can't get enough of our diverse nature. I skied and stuff growing up, but growing up.
That's not a bad thing, in Salt Lake City. I mean, there is some the trails there, or I think on parks. Yeah.
Yep. So Salt Lake, or Utah as a whole, is just so diverse. We can be skiing or with lakes, or down south with red rocks, and there's just so much to explore. It's a lot of fun. It was a fun place to grow up.
We spent, so Moise and I, before we landed here, we were in an RV, a 35-foot fifth wheel for
That's my
15
dream.
months. 15 months we did it. And we spent some
Wow.
time in Utah. And the geography is a little fuzzy because I haven't looked at it in a bit, but I think there's Arches. That's in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
We did a night hike in Arches. It was probably the highlight of my life.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
It
The
was amazing.
stars you can see absolutely because it's so dark. It's stunning.
It was this odd confluence. Like we were there in Moab, like we were staying near Moab, which is amazing biking trails.
Agreed.
Wow.
I know you're a mountain biker. So yeah, that was probably
those
for you.
Moab was, I did the whole enchilada. They had a trail. It's 33-mile epic. And by the end I was done. Like I felt like I was writing for survival more than anything else. But the Arches was beautiful. And they shut down for the weekend. They all the park people just let free entry for the weekend. So you can go night hiking.
Wow.
It was, I was blown away by the beauty of Utah.
Yeah.
What's there?
I agree. Wow. We have trained our kids well to enjoy the national parks. We did Glacier this summer, and they've already talked about going back. So I'm like, I have done my job as a parent, as you get adventure and national parks.
How do you balance all of this? Because it's a lot. I mean, corporate world, coaching, training, you 6 children. How do you balance?
Great question. There's times when I don't as effectively,
right.
But it's knowing my values, knowing my priorities, right. What comes first and what can I let go? I very much used to say yes to everything as a pleaser and learned how ineffective I am in that role. And it doesn't serve anybody well. So I've learned to be intentional with my time, with how I want to spend my time. When I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. When I'm at work, I'm at work. Obviously it can be flexible, but I just pour my heart into what I'm doing and get the most out of it. Go from there.
Right. There was a friend, she's a corporate coach and works at a pretty big organization. She says the ideas of balance, it still is there, but it's also more like thinking more in terms of time blocking and then an integration of work and life, not a work-life balance, but a work-life integration. Totally
agree.
It seems like you found some of the secret sauce for that integration.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you have to let go of in order to make the integration work?
Pleasing everyone. Holding myself to an unrealistic expectation. Yeah, those are the two main things. I have to, if I can plan out my week and block my time as I do, I'm glad you mentioned that because it works so effectively. Stress level immediately goes down and I can show up effectively. Otherwise, I'm frazzled, I'm focused, my attention is focused in multiple different areas. And again, I don't show up well at all. So just centering myself, showing up as my best self, wherever it is that I need to be, and then go from there.
How routine is your life? Like how routine are your weeks and how optimum is that routine?
We have a lot of schedules that we have to meet. So it's pretty routine. Yeah.
I find that really helps.
I agree.
Because then you can refine it. So if you're, how much do you tinker with each week?
It's primarily, well, probably like, if I was going to put a percentage on it, like 20%. Right. Yeah. Because they're set in stone things that I can't adjust. So I can tinker around those though.
Yeah, I feel like I constantly tinker too. I was playing with this question last night, like to what degree, because I mean, life, we have little ones and activities and, we're there. And I constantly tinker with, okay, if I get this, if I set up my clothes here, there, and like do this there, like, you know what I mean? Like how much, and then I just thought, what if I just stopped tinkering? Yeah. So what would happen if you stopped tinkering? Like that's the question I've been playing with in my mind for like the last week. Yeah.
What would I do? I don't know.
mean, stop tinkering and like trying to improve the system. What if
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
just ran the
I'm
systems?
thinking,
What
I'm
would
like,
happen? Yeah.
life would go on and I would probably be perfectly fine.
I've been playing with this idea too. We can move forward.
Keep me posted if you try it out.
What happens, right? Like, like is like, what if I drink two more? Like, what if I drink an extra cup of coffee? Would that help or not? Would that be detrimental? Maybe I should switch to green tea. I don't know. Like, these are the questions that I ponder as I'm driving my daughter to gymnastics.
That's cute. Yes, your brain is on fire. It's going full speed.
I think what happens when you're in the coaching world, there's an element of, you're in coaching. Your coaching concepts are swimming around, and I think there's a perpetual what if or what about, or there's
totally agree.
this sort of sensation. And sometimes I think, well, does that need to calm down, or does it need to amp up? Like, there's a relationship even with the change factor. You've mentioned that there's been some deep, like, personal and professional development that's happened. What have been your main things that you've learned about yourself in that process?
So much. So much, like, it's hard to even narrow down. I have such a sense of gratitude for it. I think more than anything, I don't even know. There isn't more than anything, because it's all just so good. I think it's given me permission to accept myself for who I am. I'm not perfect, but I have good intent and my heart is in the right place. And it's okay to try something and make a mistake, or it's okay to not meet the expectation that I thought. But I can continually grow and improve and learn from it and become a better version each day. There's not an end game to that.
Mm-hmm. How do you know you're on the right path for that growth? These are very coachy questions. I realize what a coachy informed interview question these are. So here we are.
Well, you are a coach and this is a coaching podcast.
This is what I do. Yeah. How do you know you're on the right path? Yeah.
I think you feel it. I feel a sense of peace. I feel a sense of contentment. I don't feel the need that I'm missing out on something. I just have a strong sense of gratitude for what I have, for where I'm at, and where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like gratitude is like one of those, what the word would be, like orienting emotions, where if you can figure out and tap into it, it does guide people.
Yes. It doesn't mean I'm not going to push myself and not strive to be better and learn all the time, but I'm not going to beat myself up all along the way and make it a tumultuous journey.
We were looking forward to November and thinking, preparing and looking, dusting off research on gratitude and looking at what we might do, for media. And I was this idea of all of the different kinds of gratitude. And trying to figure out what's your gratitude language, or what's your avenue for gratitude. And even gratitude for the past, gratitude for the hard things. What helps you get to that place of gratitude for the past, gratitude for the hard things?
I think reflection is key, not dwelling on it, but reflecting how far I've come, or how far an individual has come, to say, that was hard. I didn't think I could get through it, but I did. And here I am now, and I'm better for it.
Right. Yeah. The skill building from, this idea of that we need challenges, that there's this idea that, human beings are not fragile. We need challenges. We need things in our lives that push us forward. You get rave reviews from people in training.
Very
and
kind.
It's lovely. I love this so much because I feel like in some ways the 1.0, 2.0 process is an extended job interview where I get to go, yes, Jayme, let's do this.
Yes.
Team, let's do this. And it's lovely. And the trainers are, I feel like this group of people who are really invested in helping others grow and move forward. When you are training, what are your, like, what's your primary outcome, or what perspective do you have when you step into a course as a trainer?
What a great question. My perspective is that I want to provide the gift for them that I was given, so that then they can pay it forward to others.
That's right. I love that.
And it's so true. It probably sounds cheesy and corny, but that's why I feel like I have such strong connections with my classes. I genuinely care about each person, and I want to celebrate them and congratulate them and know what's going on to encourage them to move forward and see them succeed, because it makes such a positive impact, and we need more of that in the world. So I'm happy to share it.
I love that. What's your favorite life coaching tool?
Oh, easy. It is the assumption chart. I use that thing all the time. I'll be on a walk with my dogs and I'll be like, okay, this is really bothering me. Okay, let me go through the steps. What negative assumption am I making? How am I showing up? It is incredible how effective that tool is. I use it with my kids. I've taught them that tool. And, with the landscape of 2020, politics and COVID and so many tumultuous situations, it's provided a lot of empathy for them to utilize rather than snap judgments, which we can often fall to. So it's my favorite tool.
I have a deep, the more we get into 2020, the more I feel like coaching is the antidote.
Oh, yes.
To basically everything that's happening.
Yep. I'm so grateful for having all these tools through this year, teaching classes and reinforcing them and having clients to work with so that it's ever present in my mind and helping me stay ahead of the negativity.
Where one of my biggest takeaways in 2020 is the value of doing work for the sake of others, like having empathetic, meaningful work. That it, in an odd way, like the more I pour into others, the more, like, the higher the basement or the floor gets for my negative emotion. Especially dealing with really challenging things. I found that my client sessions became these little islands of peace where I could focus 100% on other people.
Exactly.
What's your experience with that?
I couldn't agree more. And in doing it, it fills you up and it almost like builds up your immunity, your armor to the outside world. And it's so fulfilling. It's almost selfish in a way because I get so much out of it.
It's an odd, there's an odd internal configuration that happens where I get this sense and feeling I was 100% born to do this work. Like the work I'm doing right here, right now is the most important work I could ever do on this planet. And to feel that feeling, it feels a tingle, like electric. I don't know how to,
It's so fulfilling and rewarding. And at the end of every class, it's funny because my husband will tease me. I may be tired. I may have had a long day or there's a lot going on, but I'll go into my class. Every single time I come out energized. And he's just like, it's amazing to see what happens in those 2 hours. And it's not like I'm a different person. I'm the same person. It just reinforces what we're doing.
There is something intrinsically energizing about talking through ideas and emotion that may never ever be talked about in someone's life. I've thought about some of my coaching conversations that I've had with clients and think, I don't know if they ever would have got this far without coaching. Like,
Yep.
that it does, this matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm playing with the sun a little bit. I feel like the sun is reflecting. The sun came out in Portland in the wintertime.
Don't lose it. You need
Yeah.
it.
Go out there and enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Utah doesn't have the same, Salt Lake City doesn't have the same clouds that Portland has in the
No,
winter.
but my husband lives in Portland, so I spent a lot of time in Portland too.
That's right. We talked
Yeah.
about this.
Yes. I'm the weird setup person.
That's the journey between Salt Lake and Utah is not, or Salt Lake and Portland is not a long one.
No, and it's not a pretty one. Where you are, when you end in Hood River, that's like the last of the beauty, and then it's just dry desert the rest of the drive.
Yeah, I feel like between Cascade Locks and Portland is about, or Hood River is about, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
The Dalles are pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
go to the Dalles, but then it does
Picked a
become
good
deserty.
spot to land.
Then you get off the Columbia and it's not, you're looking at a lot of flat deserty hills.
Exactly. So it's a long 11 hours sometimes.
Wow. Yeah, that's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I used to do, because we moved to Portland, I still had a client base in Southern Oregon. So I used to take the Red Eye Greyhound bus twice a month.
Wow.
Go down and meet with my clients for 2 days in a row and then come back up.
Oh, that's
I think
crazy.
back, I don't think I could do that anymore.
Thank goodness for virtual offices.
Oh, I mean, I was doing that in my 20s. So I'm like, that's about right.
Yeah.
Like, that's good for that guy,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and now you've moved on to bigger and better.
11 hours. If I've been there, I could do it again if I had to, for the for the sake of the mission, right?
Yeah.
What's oh my goodness. So what would be your advice to someone just starting out their life coach training?
Lean into the process. It can feel a little bit overwhelming. It can feel foreign. It can feel maybe even a little bit awkward. But just lean in and trust the process, and it will benefit you significantly.
What about for those hesitant executives? What piece would help them? Like, what do you think would help? If they were going to be first introduced to coaching, what would be the introduction you would like to see them have?
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Because I want to say, get your ego out of the way, because I think that's a lot of it. There's ego involved, which is understandable. When you're at that level, you have a lot of pressure on you to deliver results, and your time is precious with what you get done. But what if you could be more effective in your role and in your leadership style so that you can do that? That's what coaching will give you.
What percentage do you feel like it makes people like more effective?
For me personally, I'd say 125%. I'm that into it. I would have to say on average, at least 50%. Obviously, people are going to implement it to different levels. So you kind of have the extreme highs and lows, but at least 50% more effective, more self-aware, more empathetic, just all around more effective as an individual.
What I'm amazed with in this world of connectivity and being able to message and the amount of connections that we have and access to each other, through online, it feels like, decisions, relationships, energetic feel, all of those things are vastly more important than what you can get done solo and, just cranking it out, even though that's valuable too. Like that's value. But it's in the connections with others that I feel like that's where our world is shifting more in that direction. Like, how well do you connect with others and work with others and inspire and share ideas and make better decisions? I feel like coaching fundamentally helps executives make better decisions.
I agree. I think it helps. It's a tool to help you get out of your own way. And I think that's what it does.
It's funny. I mean, I'm just thinking back to my executive clients and, them like going through the wheel of life, and the ones who still aren't into it and they go, nah, meh, and then they hear from their, like, their colleagues, like what's happening. And then they come back later and they say, you know what?
Try that.
I'm going to try that tool. What was that one thing you did with so-and-so?
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I want that's what I want them to experience. Like, like it's okay. Like when you're ready, it's here. It's not going away.
I think too, and I'm very passionate about this. I don't want to do something that isn't beneficial to me as a whole person. If I'm just good at one thing because, there's needs, tactical things like Excel or whatever that I need to know. But I want to be better as a whole person and not just in my workplace or my personal life. And I think if we can emphasize and help an executive understand this benefits every aspect of your life, they're more bought in as well.
Right. And I find that there are things in the cracks where like there's time when there might not be an immediate pressure. Like, there's not that urgency.
Yep.
So how, like, it might just, might not be a lot of time, but it might be an hour here, 2 hours there. But in those little chunks of time do you have the awareness, the energy, the focus, the idea of, oh, this is the important thing that I can get ahead on. That's where I see, coaching really helping people get into that mode more often and take advantage of those elements.
I totally agree.
That's what I find when, most of the work that I've done with the executives, there's a lot of time management and juggling, and comes to the forefront really quickly.
But I look at, I'm in the executive world still, and I look at the preparation that was done unknowing what 2020 would bring. And because of that preparation, because of that work, 2020 has been a smooth year where the executive team has come together cohesively, has been more effective than they actually were previously. And so if you can help them understand and see the benefits from that as well, it's in the preparation to what the future holds. Such an impact.
I agree. Just our leadership team and everything now, like if you look back a year if you did a snapshot from here to now, I think I think we're probably double more as effective as we were last year.
Totally agree.
And
communication,
I think part of this,
offerings, so many things.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing to feel like there are advantages, like in any challenge, there are different opportunities presented. And I feel like coaching, the opportunity here is you can't go outside, so you might as well work.
Exactly.
What are you gonna do? I've been as a team, we've discovered that everyone has these odd, nerdy, you wouldn't expect kind of things. Like me, I love plants. I love green tea. I've been lately into reading astronomy books with my 4-year-old every night. So I know way too much about the solar system and things.
You need to get back to Moab then, so you can
celestial bodies, right? What you got, Jayme? What's your?
I am so nerdy. I love gardening. Love my garden. I flower garden. I don't plant vegetables. I can't grow anything like that. I love home projects. So anything I can do. This year's been a lot of fun to refocus on the house and just make it over, give it personality. So yeah, I'm big into Pinterest, big Pinterest nerd.
What's your flowers? What do you grow? What are your flowers?
I love lilies. I love only perennials because I want my garden to fill in and not have to replant them every year. So I'm a big perennial fan. Lilies, hydrangeas.
Talking daylilies? Are we talking more like?
No, it's not a daylily. Now I'm going to forget the name of it. They're yellow and they're smaller. Let's just call it a day, Lily, for argument's sake. But
You got me in. You got me in. We'll talk plants. Let's talk plants. Let's talk plants.
It's so fun because in Oregon, everything grows so well. Sometimes
It's
a little
wild.
too much.
I'm from Pittsburgh originally. When I hear a couple of things immediately are way different. Thing one, the moisture.
Yes.
None here. So all water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thing two is there's no rocks in the soil.
Oh.
Where are the rocks? You know,
I don't know.
In Pittsburgh, it's like click, click, click,
Yes.
click, and you have to
Can't
get the
get anything out.
Here, it's like I don't even own a pickaxe. I just have a shovel, which is wild to me.
It's wild to me how fast things grow. Like we could be gone for a week and the garden is overtaken, and I'm like, wait, what just happened? We have to cut back the trees so often, but it just makes it so lush and gorgeous.
We're gonna get photos of those flowers, and we're gonna get them up on the blog when we can.
I will send them.
So
okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Any final things that like to add to this cast before we wrap it up?
Mostly, I'm just so grateful. I love working with Co-Training EDU. I love teaching. I wanted to be a teacher when I was growing up and kind of changed direction. So coming back to that passion, I didn't realize how fulfilling it would be. And it's been amazing. So thank you. And I think that's a good way to summarize.
Thank you, Jayme. It's such a pleasure to hear a little more of your story, and really, truly, like participants love you and I think what it is there's an element that, when someone is teaching something that they love themselves and they feel passionate about. And I think the concepts that coaching provided me personally, when at the time that it did, made my life so much richer and better. And I just want to share as much as I can.
Exactly.
This same journey with other people, because I really do feel like these are the tools, these are the skills. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they get adopted. Somewhere, some group of people is going to do this on a larger scale. Hopefully, the world, and it's already happening. But thank you again for this interview and for being here and being a part of the team. And this has been another episode of the Coaching to Flourish podcast.
Woohoo! Have a
Thanks, everyone.
fabulous day.